Western Mass News 11 at 11.
In Franklin County, Bernardston and Greenfield police departments are warning about apparent fake towing companies claiming to be based in Greenfield. Good Wednesday evening, everyone, and welcome to Western Mass News 11 at 11. I'm Chris Pisano. Western Mass News reporter Olivia Hickey joins us now live in studio after speaking with police. Olivia.
Chris, Deputy Chief William Gordon says Bernardston police alerted the department of the situation. After doing some research, he found more apparently fake towing companies claiming to be based in the city. He says situations like this are common, which is why people need to be vigilant with who they give their business and payment information to.
This situation may sound familiar to you. You're traveling in a car and experience some trouble. You call the first towing company that appears to you online after searching for tow services. Here's the twist. You pay the deposit on a credit card and the tow truck never shows. You learn there isn't one after calling police. And the address for the company is for a building that clearly isn't a towing company. This happened to a person in Bernardston. After learning about the alleged towing company, Greenfield Deputy Police Chief Bill Gordon did some research.
After Bernardston police told us about it, I Googled Greenfield Towing and found that Greenfield actually has 4 fake towing companies in town.
As Greenfield Police pointed out on their official Facebook page, Miley Towing Inc.'s address is an abandoned building. We checked out all 4 addresses found online. We didn't find a towing business at any of them.
I actually contacted the company today to see if they would remove their companies from Google search, and all of them hung up on me.
He called some of the companies with us again Wednesday. They all utilize similar answering services. One alleged business putting us on a long hold. Others cannot provide the address of an alleged business or the name of an alleged towing company Gordon was calling for. These red flags, amongst others, are the ones Gordon says customers need to utilize caution shopping for any item or service. Gordon tells Western Mass News shoppers should analyze websites and what content is on them.
2 other companies that had websites, and I simply right-clicked and hit search image with Google, and I could see that that image was used several times with other companies.
And keep logos in mind.
None of the tow trucks actually had their name written on the tow truck.
But with these alleged businesses, such as the one pointed out on the police department's Facebook page, moving locations and changing quickly, he explains federal authorities would be the ones to investigate this.
Customs or the FBI would have to be dealing with this. Trying to chase these companies down for them is a nightmare too. The call centers pop up, they close down, they show up in somebody's basement, and they're all over the place.
According to police, the person trying to utilize the alleged towing service was able to file a fraud report and cancel their credit card. If you think you ever are a victim fraud, Gordon says contact police and alert your bank. Reporting live in studio, Olivia Hickey for Western Mass News.